We're back to talk about all things challenge rated here on the Nullified Take channel, where we always have the TNT takes for you on the Challenge 40, episode 15. That is right. We are very quickly approaching the finale of the Challenge 40, and the show's not slowing down, Kahuna. They've got heavy weights still in the game at this stage, and still every single weekend, week, we sort of sit here, we think, who's going to go next? With all of these challenge legends from different eras going head to head, and Kahuna, this week did not disappoint, right? This week did not disappoint. We had another big head-to-head episode here with Aviv and Jenny ultimately going against each other, but a lot of action for us to break down with this episode. Are you still enjoying the season, Kuna? It's very important to know because we haven't spoken in a while. I feel like it's been about a week and a half since the last time we spoke about the challenge.
It feels like it's been a long time, but yeah, when you think like with Thanksgiving in the States and stuff. So yeah, look, I'm still loving it. I was actually, there was a moment in this episode where I was like, I think it was maybe when Rachel was talking, and I was like, holy crap, like to have a Jordan, Bananas, a Rachel, a Cara Maria, a Tori, even like a Kylan at this late stage of the game. There are still a Corey, some very, very strong, heavy hitters in the game. Corey, I count in the same vein as well. Like, if you think about the whole show, has there been anyone that's gone home that you're like, they should really be here for the finals? With the exception of maybe a CT. Laurel, we saw quit and she wasn't in like peak Laurel form, you know what I mean? Like, is there anyone that's gone home you're like, oh, they actually should really be here? Maybe like a Horacio or something like that, like athletically, I don't know, but we still have a very, very strong lineup left. It's not like those seasons where because of a couple strong people in an alliance that drag weaker players along, it seems to be a strong lineup across the board so far. Like, it's going to be an exciting finals.
Yeah, and I've enjoyed the fact that, again, we spoke about this earlier in the season when we've been breaking down all of the action each episode, that we have had 2, maybe 3 factions in the house at one stage. It hasn't just been the Vacation Alliance steamrolling from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, winning their way to the end, bringing goats along, or layups, as they say in the challenge fandom. It really has been a back and forth. And again, now that the season is starting to get closer and closer to the end, like, is this one of Bananas' best seasons? Like, regardless on if he actually wins or not. Like, I mean, strategically, the fact that the guy is still there and that he had the knowledge and the wisdom to get buffers in front of him called the Bananas Angels, and it's played out so well for him. He's only just now in the game lost one of those buffers. Like, you actually kind of have to say all hail King Bananas at this stage, because strategically I feel like he's played a masterclass and it's been entertaining. Like, Jordan's played a great game as well. But if you had to ask me, out of the two of them, who's been the most entertaining player so far this season, and also who's everybody been coming after, it's been Bananas. So I really tip my hat to him. I think Troy, who was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, said that Bananas probably has impressed him the most. I kind of have to agree so far, seeing his body of work this season.
You know, like, when we first started podcasting together, and I knew it was going to work well because there were so many takes where we were on the same wavelength. And I was watching the episode today and I went, holy shit, like, look at Bananas. Like, there was a little thing about how it was sort of doing a narrative break. I don't know if someone was doing the voiceover, like the confessional or whatever, but it was kind of telling the story of Bananas Angels versus the rest kind of thing. And it's no longer the Vacation Alliance, because that's kind of been dismantled into the leftover group with Kylan and like kind of mishmashed together.
It's only Tori. Tori's the only one that's left.
It's only Tori, right? Like, there's no one left because the Bananas Angels have actually performed so well. But I was just thinking, like, how amazing it is when you're talking about the dominance of Bananas as far as the show goes, about how good he is on TV and how entertaining he is. The fact that it is Bananas versus everyone else, versus whatever alliance there is. It's not Bananas versus Jordan and his team, or Bananas versus Cara and her team. It's Bananas versus like the Avengers. Like, it's, they have to put together this team, and everyone else on Banana's side just plays second fiddles to Bananas. It's not the team, it's Bananas and his subordinates, you know?
Yeah. And just to be clear, for people who are coming across our podcast, our live show for the first time, thinking that these guys are just banana stands, the people who've been with us for a very long time know we do criticize bananas when we need to, and we do have other favorites on this podcast. He's not necessarily our number one guy that we stand for on this podcast, but you have to give the guy credit because the Vacation Alliance have been dominant for 5-6 seasons when no one's found a way to dismantle them. And it's taken someone of Bananas' stature.
A part of it, right? Like that's kind of shows brilliance. Is that he was when it was played to his strengths, he was in there. Now that it's Bananas as well.
But is Derek to blame for this? Because Derek was the one who wanted to take shots at Bananas to begin with. So Bananas had to just play defense, and he had to find another home because Derek didn't want to have Bananas in that alliance. Like if Derek played ball early on in the season and he didn't necessarily want to go after Bananas, which Bananas caught wind of, this could have been a very different season. We could have had, so in some ways, I would say almost we have Derek to thank for going after Bananas so early on, which ignited a fire underneath his ass because he's like, this is season 40. This is a marquee season and I'm the GOAT. I'm not going out first. I'm not going out early. Like I'm going to be there in the finals. I want to be there all the while until the end, you know? So in some ways we've got Derek to blame or to thank, depending on where you sit on the Bananas love, basically.
Yeah, it's true. Like maybe he did sort of use that as the ignition, the fuel, like to because he's put on a show. Like Bananas not plays better necessarily. Like he gets emotional. He does stupid things. But as far as TV goes, he is at his peak when he's sort of got his back to the wall, when he is being targeted, when he's comfy and cruisy, he's a little bit more boring. And it's kind of weird that that's what we're seeing from Jordan. Yeah. The feistiness isn't with Jordan at the moment. He's very cool, calm, and collected because he's not even gone into an elimination. He's not targeted in the slightest. We see it all going Bananas' way, and Bananas is just reveling in the spotlight, whereas Jordan gets to sneak through. So what you said before, that if Bananas, even if he doesn't win, like he's kind of the MVP of the season so far.
100%. Like he's carried it.
Yeah.
Narratively, I think there's no one even close to him. Maybe Michelle as like his rival, but she's kind of fallen into the shadows in the last couple of episodes because when she's not going into the arena, there's not much of a story to tell around Michelle. I mean, obviously they made a big thing of her birthday and we'll talk about that, but I just want to say hello to Hollis. Welcome back to the live early morning over there where you're at. And Erica, hello as well. Great to have some early live listeners jumping in on the action. And guys and girls, please leave your comments in the live section. We are reading them. So if you disagree with us, we'd love to hear what your thoughts are on Bananas being the MVP for this season by, in my opinion, and Kahuna's opinion, a country mile. And I do want to talk a little bit about Jordan, since Jordan's the other heavyweight that, I mean, has to be the favorite to win the season at this stage. Like we've spoken about it, he's younger, more athletic than Bananas at this stage, just as capable as him. And I don't know, like Kylan maybe could be a threat, but doesn't have the experience of running a final. So you just have to tip it to Jordan at this stage to win it. And it feels like we're just sitting back and watching how he's going to get to the end and win this thing, unless he does end up going up against Corey in an elimination and Corey gets the right elimination against him. But even then, Jordan's one of the best at winning elimination. So I just don't know how Jordan doesn't get to the end and win it at this stage. But are we going to look back at this game and think that Jordan was entertaining this season? I don't think so. Are we going to look back at the season and say this might be Jordan's best season from a strategic standpoint? Maybe.
Yeah.
maybe Jordan's most boring season is his best season because he hasn't had anybody take any shots at him so far in the game. And for someone of his stature, that is crazy. That is insane.
Like I've always been an advocate, sometimes to the point where people very much disagree, that someone like Jordan, maybe you don't take them early, but holy crap, is it too late now? Like, you know what I mean? Like you maybe don't want to start the fight. And they had that bit of a standoff, Bananas and Jordan, and Bananas and Devon for a little bit there as well. There was a bit of a ceasefire. But Bananas and Jordan have that going on, and they've both kept it going on for each other anyway. But why is everyone else letting Jordan slide? Like, Derek commented in one of the confessionals today that Bananas has a reputation that if he gets to a finals, he wins, right? Which, sure. But Jordan's also there. Like, what are they talking about? Jordan has a better record in the finals than Bananas,
Yeah. But I think that the format of the show has played massively into Jordan's favor, similar to Bananas, because the girls that have gone down into the sand have all been kind of like, we'll keep Jordan safe because we want to work with him and we want him to keep us safe in case he does get thrown in because he's capable of winning. So I feel like the format of the show has played into big players like Bananas and Jordan kind of finding their way, because some of the strongest women in the game, like Rachel and Tori, for instance, they're kind of Team Jordan. And Kara, I don't know, where her head's been this whole season, what she's been doing. She's like, I kind of like, as big of a fan as I am of Kara's, Bananas kind of hit the nail on the head. He's like, she's finally playing the game. She's finally becoming allies with Corey in the game right now. Can I be a part of this alliance? Because she's not been choosing sides this whole season. She's been riding the floater train, or she's been floating in the middle the whole sort of season. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, Kahuna, but what I was kind of saying was that I feel like the format has really played into their hands this season. And some people haven't had that easy ride, like Jordan. Like, I don't want to take anything away from them. They're obviously strategically good as well, but their reputations have kept them safe to a degree. But Bananas has been thrown in. That's the crazy thing. He has been in there many a times. So I don't even know if that's true.
With the excuse that his reputation, that he's too strong, which, that's why I don't get the logic, right? If I see what you're saying about, I guess because it's just the two factions. It has to be, right? That's why they're targeting Bananas, because right now, even the women don't want to compete against a Rachel and a Jenny and and an Aviv, right? They'd rather take them out than their friends, as far as Tori, Michelle, and that go on that side. So when you split down the middle, Bananas is the guy on that side that's taking all the flack, and on the other side, I guess it's been Corey, really, right? Because he's kind of been a little bit of a free agent, and it's simply because there's been available targets that Jordan hasn't really copped it, maybe. Because I'm trying to justify why you would let Jordan sit there this long without even being.
It's crazy.
Not once.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy to me.
Even just to use him as if you really think that he's unbeatable in the sand, he's going to come back. Even just to use that weapon, like you put someone in order to get them to knock someone else out. Or
if you want Bananas out, throw both of them in there.
Yeah, just completely untouchable. I have no idea why.
Yeah, Erica is saying Jordan has been able to coast, not been targeted, no eliminations, not having to play strategically. If he wins, he hasn't had to do much. And I do think that, I don't know if the challenge is great at editing subtle gameplay. Like, I feel like he's had great subtle gameplay behind the scenes. I feel like he's had the right conversations with the right people, but we just have not. So I hear where you're coming from, Erica, based on a historic challenge, great edit, and good winner perspective. We haven't seen Jordan have to hustle for it, right? But I do think that there's work that he's doing that we're just not seeing as viewers. We're not privy to it. Like, I don't think this is happening by accident, him not being thrown in there, I do want to move the conversation on a little bit. What do you think of the whole Corey and Cara Maria sort of alliance? That they're kind of like friends now because they mutually have lost people on both sides, and they're finding this middle ground. Do you like it? Because I noticed on X, people are really shipping this new alliance. They're really loving the Cara Maria Corey alliance coming together in the game.
Yeah, me too. Like, I like it, but I was like, my reaction was like, why has it taken you so long? You both have been like kind of like Cara even said, dancing around, right? Like, not only with each other, but literally looking around the game and going, we don't have any options here. Corey's been targeted so much because he doesn't have alliances, and to put himself with a very, very strong woman who has arguably underperformed this season as far as the dailies go and being able to
100%.
have that power, she's still a better option than working with air, right? So why didn't he grab onto this a lot earlier and really like the fact after the second time he got thrown in or the third time he was a target or whatever it is, why not like grab any possible lifeline he could get? Instead, he's waiting until like he's about to go to the finals or something. See if you know what I mean? Like there's 5 left. He goes, hey, now
Yeah.
I've done it solo the whole way, but now do you want to like help out?
Yeah.
Corey, man.
I just remembered something. Like in this episode, he's like, "I've got Cara Maria now. Hopefully, I'm Tori's number 2." Tori goes and says to the cameras, "I'll have his back as long as it's not between him and Jordan." And I wonder if that's a foreshadowing to what's going to happen in the next episode, because Corey, Jordan, and Derek are all targets heading into next week. So what if Derek ends up going straight in, and it's between Jordan and Corey for who the other person's going to be, and Tori's got the power? Like I just feel like it's too poetic. They put these things together way after the season's done. I started reading into the edit. Like is she gonna be the final girl that breaks Corey's heart this season? Like, you know, so many of them have broken his heart this season. Like, is that where we're heading to? You know, it's kind of like the Titanic going to the iceberg.
In this instance, I think like he would be like he knows. Like this one,
Yeah.
she's been pretty clear and obvious that Jordan is, you know, I got you except for Jordan. So if it happened, like I don't think he'd be pissed because she was pretty open and honest about it, you know. And I feel like Corey is that guy that also can separate game, except with Josh apparently. But like he'd go, cool, like I get it. Like he would do the same if it was Cara Maria and Tori, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to bring up is that, you know, when Corey and Kylan has that conversation in this episode about the last black representation that they had winning the challenge was Nehemiah, I didn't realize that for the men, at least, it goes back that far since they've had a black male win the challenge.
Season 15.
That's insane, right? Because the challenge always has had a lot of representation on the show. So, and there's been great representation. It's been people like Leroy who've been like very dominant and have just never gone the full distance and won potentially, you know, that I didn't realize that.
Certainly the last few seasons have increased the representation as far as volume. For a long time, it was very token. Like you get the one, like or two, you know, you get like very small percentages. It was still overwhelmingly white cast. It has increased, and that would play into why there wasn't as many champions of color, because there just wasn't as many people on the show. Like the percentages of it happening, and as TV progressed, as society progressed, the show has much more representation now. It just hasn't happened. I think one of the unfortunate things is that it just so happened to be in the last decade, the run of a Bananas, Jordan, and CT kind of, you know, dominance, where they're white guys, but they're also the best that have ever done it. So, you know,
Corey's been second many times.
Any of the people of color coming in the last however many seasons have run into a freaking Mount Rushmore like every season. Like it's hard to compete with that, you know.
No, it's a very fair call. Makes, I guess, Amber's win even more so impressive, right? That she did win recently, and she was new when it happened as well. We've got Mr. Troy Cullen in the live. Hello, Troy. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Sit back and relax, and jump on if you wanted to. Just let us know if you wanted to jump on and comment. I know you didn't prepare for it, but no pressure if you don't want to. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the daily, because, you know, someone like Troy would have bloody killed it in this daily. What did you think? What did you think of, firstly, the entrance of TJ in the daily?
Oh, it's so good. The fact that I kept them. I want to imagine, like, I know it's probably, I don't know how long, but I want to imagine production just kept them standing there for like overly long, just so long, just waiting for nothing to happen. And then he just finally bursts out. That great idea. I love that they use the tunnels in the first place, like such a big part of Vietnam's history. to incorporate that into the show is always a great thing. I love when they bring in the local sort of cultural elements as well, which is fantastic. But to have him burst out like the ring girl, like coming out of a TV,
That was amazing.
yeah, really good. A zombie out of a grave. I like it.
Who was scared the most by it? I think I have my eyes on Corey. Corey looked like
I think it was Corey.
What's Troy saying? Troy's saying, I would have loved to, but I'm not at home at the moment. They absolutely would have told them nothing and kept them standing there for 10 minutes. I absolutely would have told them nothing and kept them standing there for 10 minutes. Yeah, it was amazing. It was an amazing entrance. I absolutely loved it. One of the best that I've seen TJ do so far. And at first, my mind was blown. I was like, well, how did he get from the ground doing that? And then obviously when they explain, it's this tunnels underneath the ground that they have to go into. And I will say, I know you wouldn't have liked it probably going into those tunnels. I definitely would not have liked it. Yeah.
Do you think there are a lot of Vietnamese soldiers in the 60s that were the size of Corey?
No, I don't think there would have been many. I don't know how he got in. Actually, we didn't see him go through the did he actually go through the? Did he?
He was tight. It was tight. But he did. He has to go in like.
I would have hated. Like I get this claustrophobic feeling being in like narrow spaces and stuff. Like I would not have liked being down there at all. And then you can't even see in front of you. Like that was the worst. And they were like, "Are there spiders down there? It's probably snakes down there for all you bloody know." Like I would have freaking hated going down there, Kahuna. Like this would have been the worst daily for me to do so far that I've seen this whole season. And I always look at it through the lens of like, would I have loved to have done this? They would have come searching for me like Aviv, but I would have just been like passed out somewhere in the tunnel.
Like in complete pitch black.
Pitch black, knock myself.
Someone trips over you.
Yeah, first thing that touches my leg, I'll think it's a snake and run into the wall, and then it would have been horrible.
You know what I loved about it though? Like I thought about it for a sec. If you break it down, there's not much to it. It was like run through a tunnel and 2 puzzles, which weren't like overly complicated except for bananas. But like, yeah, there's not really much to it. If you wrote that down on paper, you go, that's freaking boring, right? But the fact that it had that element of the claustrophobia, the complete pitch black, like the Aviv getting completely lost is mental. But just how you can make the challenge does that thing where we say they go over the top. They have semi-trailers and stuff like that, but then they just do a thing, run through a dark tunnel, and you can still make good TV out of it when it's like really just so simple as well. That you don't need to have the all the other stuff when you can just make it suspenseful, when you can make it, sort of a little bit scary and actually edit it together well, where we saw it a couple times, some variations, things of that, and then we got the super cut where everyone's just going, we don't need to see the same thing over 10 times. Yeah, so they do that really well, and I commend how they make something that when you think about it, that's kind of boring, but they make it exciting and they make it interesting.
Yeah, for sure. No, I don't totally agree with you. Erica here says, all the years Bananas has played, how did he not think to look on the other side of the puzzle pieces? And I agree, like, Bananas is normally pretty good at puzzles. He's pretty good at doing a lot of his dailies and things like that. And it was crazy to me that he didn't look. But what I noticed, though, Kahuna, was that not every single puzzle piece were double-sided. Some of them were dummies that didn't have anything. Like, I think, yeah. So I feel... Yeah, so he probably looked at a lot of the puzzles and didn't see anything, and it threw him off, not thinking to look at the 2 mouths that were potentially the ones that had double-sided things to them. But yeah, again, obviously should have done better. He's got a lot of experience doing these dailies. And who was the other person who was also...
What about he preempted it as well, by the way? Like the pre-interview before the run, he said, there's 2 puzzles. There's going to be 2 chances for me to stuff it up. Like the fact that he even called it, Bananas, even accidentally stuffing up, fails in a way that makes it interesting and entertaining. Like the fact that we're all screaming, like, how do you not see the other thing? Like, no, like the dumbest way possible. Even accidentally, the dude's still entertaining. Like,
Yeah, true. Mucky, welcome to the live, saying we're only 75 years away pretty soon from the year 3000. That is correct. Erica is saying Jordan timed out on the slide puzzle. But if that is the case, Jordan should have been the one with the penalty, right?
Oh.
I don't know anything about that, Erica. But if he did time out on the slide puzzle, Bananas would have gotten further into the challenge. Having timed out only at the last puzzle, technically Jordan would have been last in that case. So it sounds like Erica is saying that there was some shenanigans.
Was a timeout a disqualification, DQ, or was it just a max time?
Should be.
I thought it was a max time. You know, like you get 20 minutes for the puzzle.
Maybe.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe that's the case.
Yeah,
it just sucks to time out on the last one. Then I guess you'd rather want us time out on the first puzzle.
The first one.
Yeah, he was out so quick. He was looking good. Aviv was funny though, running down the wrong way. It's literally barricaded down, and she was like removing the barricade to get out of the wrong end of the tunnel, running in the wrong direction. Also coming in last, which was very unfortunate for Aviv for that to happen. Obviously, this was the challenge for her to win. Of all the challenges,
yeah,
she's tiny, she's rapid. I thought she was going to kill it, but ended up getting last place, which meant that she had to go into the sand automatically. Our winners ended up being, once again, your girl Tori, man. Like, she is slaying the season. Like, if we're talking about an MVP being Bananas for the men, Tori is the MVP for the females. And it's not even close at this point. Like, I know there's a lot of Tori haters out there that will just come on this podcast and probably not like that we're saying this, Kahuna, but give the girl her flowers. Like, should we hand her the crown already? Like, I mean, I don't feel like anybody is. She's just in a different league this season. Like, she's come to play.
We even get the coming together of me and you, Cara Maria, Tori, like
they're now friends.
We get Cara Maria, we get Tori. They do that. You know the meme of in Predator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the
the hands. Yeah.
That's Cara Maria and Tori just joining forces. Something that's sort of we've been waiting for a while, and like they're even doing the comedy bits together now. Like,
it's amazing. Like, they've kind of got the same humor. Like when you look at it, it's like, why has this never happened before? Because they're actually so similar. I think Jordan was the issue. I think like she just didn't like Jordan. It wasn't Tori.
Initially it was, but Tori was with Jordan, and that's enough.
And she was defending him.
Yeah. But it is interesting. Like, Tori's in a very good spot. Like, obviously she'll be a target anytime Bananas Angels win anything or whatever as well. So that, you know, she's kind of, when I said it's kind of Bananas versus everyone else, it's kind of Bananas versus Tori is in that lead spot, but just not as far ahead. Cara Marie is obviously taking a backseat. Jordan's laying low. And, you know, Michelle and Tori have really been the targets of Bananas ire through the season, almost in shifts. Like, first it was Tori, and then Michelle goes, all right, I'll tag in. I'll do the Banana Show for a while and battle him, which is kind of fascinating to see. But Tori, as far as dailies go and stuff, she's just dominant.
Yeah, totally agree. Now, for the men, Kyland wins. So I believe Kyland, and again, I'm not keeping up with the statistics of the season as well as probably some other people would, but I believe Kyland may have won the most dailies for the men this season so far. So I think he's kind of out front for that. So Kyland also having a very dominant performance, but strategically, he makes a very interesting decision this episode in saving Michelle, where he could have saved Jenny or, Jenny, I guess, because Aviv he would have been in any case. And if you had to look at both of them, was there a deal to be made here with Jenny? Because Jenny's only got one person she's really saving at this stage, and that's Bananas. Like, I feel like Kyland could have snuck in there to a certain degree. I know he's Michelle's number one, but what's the likelihood of Michelle actually ever winning a daily? I just don't know if he made the right decision, and he had the moral high ground. Like, Michelle has betrayed him so many times in the previous season. Like, he could have gotten her back at this one and said, now we even. for future seasons. And I think she would have had to have taken it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not like Jenny's had any, real issues with him either. Like, I'm assuming they've got a pretty clean slate, right?
I think
But
Kylan's thrown her in before. I think he has thrown her in before somewhere down the
yeah,
line.
but I mean, yeah.
But you could still wheel and deal. Jenny would have made a deal.
In.
I feel like if Kylan sat down with Jenny, she would have made a deal with him.
Yeah. I don't know.
And she's pretty trustworthy.
There could have been moves. Look, Kylan, as much as he is a strategic thinker as well, I think he's also a pretty good, loyal dude. And no matter what's happened in the game in the past, they've clearly made up and are actually actual friends this season, whether it was preseason or through the course of the season. I think him and Michelle are actually close. Like, they seem to be good together when you said they're number one. So I'm happy that he's not betraying that for a deal with Jenny because Jenny's stronger. Like, yes, Michelle's not winning anything, but I mean, like, he's close now anyway. Like, making a deal at this point, I don't know. Like, does he betray his friend, look like the asshole, be the heel? Also, maybe this is a calculation. I don't know. Maybe he's thinking this way. If we're talking about future seasons,
I hate it when you use my logic against me, Kahuna. This is not fair using my logic against me.
Michelle or Jenny, right? Because I did get the vibe. Yeah. I had a little bit of a moment when they were in the chamber and just seeing Tori and Kylan next to each other. And like that pairing, like if Bananas starts to slow down, Jordan is definitely going to slow down because he's racing cars and doing everything that this Superman can do. Kylan is the future right there. He's going to win championships.
But is he a charismatic enough personality? Does he create enough good TV? I don't know. Like, I think he could become a champion.
Why not?
I just don't know.
If they bring him back, he's going to win at some point.
Yeah, at some point. Yeah, but you're talking like he can't win this season. Like, this season's still going, Kuna.
He can, of course he can. But I think he's got a stacked lineup against him.
Yeah,
but he's proven in the dailies. I think he's like, I've said this in previous episodes, that he's kind of like well-rounded in all the categories. He doesn't seem to have like one really strong deficiency. In previous seasons, you could probably say it was socially, a lot of his awareness and things like that. But this season, strategically, he seems to be pretty strong. Socially, he's certainly made up for it a lot as well. So I don't know, like, he seems to be a very, very well-rounded competitor. It's just whether those stats in all those in those categories are as high as a Jordan's,
100%. So obviously, they have the chamber, but it was probably one of the more boring chambers. We knew where it was going to go, what was going to happen. There's a bit of a nothing burger.
Tori still tried to spice it up. I like that. Tori still asked that question. Which
Jenny really didn't like it. Jenny was really offended by that. But I was like, good on you, Tori. Good on you for trying to see if you can like create some drama, get them to sort of think about where Bananas is in the game. This is why Tori is a player that keeps returning. For those people who hate Tori, this is why she keeps returning. She understands how to be entertaining. And this is my whole point with Kylan. I don't know if he understands that part of the game yet and how to be entertaining to the same level, right? And he may win in the future, but I don't know if he'll ever be that big of a player until he can have that extra bit of spice to his game. But I do agree with you as well that it probably was the smarter move to keep Michelle on his good side, because Michelle, if you like her or not, doesn't matter. She's coming back probably for the next 5 seasons. So good move in that regard. But we do end up ultimately with the two friends, Aviv and Jenny, having to go against each other in the arena. And Kahuna, if there's ever been a mismatch, this was it. Like, this is where I sometimes feel production should get involved, right? Like why do we have production give us these mismatches where one player is like half the size of the other player? We're going to have them do something physical. Like, wasn't there anything that they could have done that was more, I don't know, about agility or like a different type of skill set, a puzzle or something that would have made it at least entertaining? Because there wasn't a second that I thought Aviv had any chance when I saw what the elimination was. Like, it was like, this is where the episode fell flat. It fell flat in the chamber, and it fell flat in the arena. And I don't think it's because of the game that we saw playing out in front of us. This was a great idea for a game. I would have liked to have seen someone like Bananas and Jordan go head to head in this.
Yeah, I think
right?
this is better for the men. I
Yeah,
would love
like-
it on a men's week.
Like, sometimes I wonder, like, do they not think these things through? Like, I know if you
I know
had
what
Mucky
happened.
on the if you had Mucky on the channel, I just want to say this before you go into your riff. But if you had Mucky on this, Mucky doesn't watch the challenge. He's one of our Survivor podcasters, and he always says that with Survivor, they plan these challenges out many rounds in advance, so that makes it hard for them to pivot when the challenge comes up. It's probably similar with the challenge. Like, I assume they plan this thing ahead, and it's a logistics thing. It's just, it ended up being a dud.
You know what they did though? Like, I think they rigged it already though. They were like, look, this is a physical one, but don't worry. The daily challenge, there's no way Aviv could lose this. It's perfect. They're like, this is the perfect one for Aviv to win. The only thing that she can do to stuff this up is to go through the wrong back. Oh no! She's gonna be against Jenny. What have we done? Like, it was almost the exact opposite. Like, when you said if there was one made for Aviv, it was the daily. If there was one made against Aviv, it was the elimination. Holy, like,
yeah. And I've got Troy here in the comments making a very valid point, saying that he had a very big mismatch in his elimination where he had to do his one was the pole wrestle, or it was like, I think it was like the Bulgarian pole wrestle or something. They had a different name for it, but which also he was outweighed. Obviously, we've seen that with Derek Kaczynski before. And I think that sometimes the challenge, they're seduced by the fact that we have physical athletes like Troy and Derek Kaczynski that are smaller guys that can outperform these bigger people. But the problem, Troy, is that you're a dime a dozen, mate. Like, I know you'll like hearing that, but you're a dime a dozen. Like, they don't make them like they make you and Derek. Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't happen every single season, and the likelihood of it has been Aviv. She's strong and everything, but she's been out of the game for a long time. She's a bit older than Jenny. Jenny is like a beast. I don't know.
If it had been a rope or like a ring or whatever, like something like that, Aviv might have had a better shot. This game was actually like to get the ball.
Endurance?
No, yeah, more endurance and be able to like use smaller angles, blah, blah, blah. But to get a ball and go up, like, and throw it over, like, Aviv is like, she can't even reach her shoulders. Like, it was an insane, like, not insane, like, the game's the game, but to have something even more physical might have worked in Aviv's favor. She could go into a little ball. She can do, there's ways she can do it, but this was just no shot. Like, there was never a chance there. I would have loved to see a Corey in something like that,
Exactly. And I'm just going to say now, I'm going to call it. I've not been spoiled, so I don't know what's going to happen in the next round. Just in case some of my predictions do come true of Corey being thrown in by Tori and Jordan being saved, because I'm just reading at the moment the way the edit's going. That would mean that Corey goes against Derek in that hypothetical future, right? And I bet you we go into next week and it's going to be a fucking circus thing, or it's going to be something like, a puzzle or something stupid, and Derek knocks out Corey, who's had a sublime season. And they could have had this elimination for Corey, which he would have been primed for, So that's where the planning for me.
In this one. That triangle is too small. I think Corey in a confined environment like that, he would have been a freaking animal, like Khabib style.
Yeah. Erica's saying it's no different in puzzles, though. If someone is better at puzzle like Michelle and Kara, I agree. I do agree. And it's that's the luck of the draw.
Puzzles, you can't get bigger.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
Corey's got a good at puzzles. Actually,
nothing Aviv could do. She can't do all the puzzles on the internet and then beat Jenny in a physical thing like this.
I mean, Corey's gotten better at puzzles to the point where he now celebrates puzzle wins instead of running to the finish line and time the events, right? So he takes the time to look at the camera and first do a little bit of celebration, Johns. But Yeah, like I do agree with you. And it's sometimes like, listen, we're having a little bit of a whinge here, Erica. We're having a whinge. You know, we're a little bit fired up, but I get it. It's the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
It's the luck of the draw
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Josh rocks up to a puzzle. He's like, "Come on."
Josh is not
fair.
winning anything. Josh rocks up to any. He rocks up to any arena, and it's like, this is not fair. Guy couldn't jump over hay. Guy couldn't jump over hay bales. Come on. So yeah, so it fell a little bit flat, but I thought it could have been an entertaining. It could have been an entertaining round. Like, I don't know. Is there anything you wanted to add to it? Like, it was a good arena, but fell flat a little bit.
Wrong. I do think it would have been much better on a men's week. I know that sounds misogynistic of me. I'm not like that at all. But maybe I just feel like when it's not doubles, like where they do a men's elimination and a women's elimination, like you can be a little bit more strategic with who's doing what, you know?
I mean, Tori versus Kara or Rachel versus Tori. Like, there's a couple of female matchups that would have been good. This just wasn't it. This wasn't the matchup for me in this one. So ultimately, we do have Jenny winning.
End up with, when you do it this way, you're right. You could end up with a Rachel versus thing, but you could also end up with a Michelle versus thing, or an Aviv versus Tori, or like you know, there's a lot more variance. I think Derek, I don't think would do as poorly, maybe against Corey, but like against other guys in the competition, even a Derek wouldn't do as poorly as an Aviv versus, you know, X kind of thing. She's so tiny. Like the difference is massive.
Bloody Money saying, Chris and Kahuna, how are you guys? Finals are getting closer. Yes, we are very excited for the finals. We're ready for it. We can't wait to see who's going to take the crown heading into the final. But Jenny ultimately wins in this one here. And then very funny moment here with Jenny being like, oh, I hate the power. I hate this responsibility. And Aviv telling her, shut up, girl. Choose two or three people. Take the shots now. It's your moment. You've got power. You need it in the game. And I thought, for everybody who questions why Jenny doesn't come back, that's it. That's why. Yeah. That's it. Like, she doesn't enjoy the power. She doesn't enjoy playing the game. She just wanted to do the physical stuff. And this is my criticism sometimes of people who are just athletic versus also great TV characters, right? I know there's a lot of Jenny love out there, and she's probably the nicest and best person in real life. I'm talking about a TV character with a little bit of spice. It's just lacking a little bit.
Sure, but for every one of a Jenny, like, why can't we have that when we have an Amanda? You know, when we have a Katie come back from multiple, when we have a Josh. I mean, Josh is a big dude, but you know, like,
we've got a Casey, we've got a Horacio.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like, there's a place for that person as well. Like, you don't have, not every single person can be the bananas where they are, and Jordans that are, and the Tories that are both physically, and they're both physically incredibly capable, as well as, like, you need that. You need the spectrum, right? You need 100% across the board. So I think there's a very valid spot for people like Jenny to fill.
You can tell Kahuna and I have been doing Kahuna. You can tell that we've been doing this for a few seasons now. I love it, because as soon as one of us goes, let's just that little bit too far off the beaten road, we're right there to pull each other back up. Just pull us back in for some common sense. Just be like, Chris, you're going too far on this one. Pull back on Jenny a little bit. The only thing I would say, if I'm on your side, if I look at it from this angle, is that if you take that approach that Jenny, there's a spot to have a character like that where they might not bring good TV, but is very physical, then you do run the risk of having that person be a multi-time champion, right? And then you have the star of the show be really not a star at all. But I think she'll get better.
That's why they're doing
the more she plays. I do think you've got to ask yourself, can Jenny get better as a TV character? Does she have potential? And I think she does. I think that if you bring Jenny back for 5 or 6 seasons in a row, and she's got a few people that betray her, because she's never played long enough for people to betray her, right?
Yeah.
I feel like she hasn't had that moment.
She hasn't had the
realization.
To either build the connections, build the relationship, learn the politics, learn the way. She's and to a certain extent she hasn't needed to either, because she's just such a physically dominant player where learning
I
the
love
other
it.
aspects
I love
of
it.
the
We were
game.
both arguing.
Yeah.
I think we solidly went both ways on
So-
this one, and that typical Kahuna
Yeah,
and Chris fashion here. We argue both sides of the argument. We leave no stone unturned on the Nullified Take channel. Bloody Money is saying, can you imagine Rachel and Devin are in the same roof together in an upcoming challenge mania? Does Rachel and Devin have beef that I don't know about, Kahuna? Like, I've not been following the socials. Oh, is it Devin? Is it Devin, the guy Devin, or girl? It's girl Devin, right?
It's Devin. Yeah, Devin took some weird. It is social media. Devin took some weird shots at Rachel's way. Yeah, like I was not. So you know the little fight that Bananas and Michelle had over the foot thing with Aviv,
right?
And Bananas was saying like, "Don't do that. Like you're gonna ruin a marriage. You're being stupid," and blah blah blah. Devin, being Michelle's boyfriend. I'm sorry.
You did
boyfriend,
that. You know what you did there, Kuna. You know what you did.
No, wanting to defend her honor, called out Rachel because Rachel's feminist, girl power. She's all for the empowerment of women. Why is she letting Bananas talk shit to Michelle and blah 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 when she's supposed to be empowering women? Like, what? Like,
it's Rachel's friend. It's just that's weird logic.
That was when Rachel said, because when Rachel was like, "Look, Bananas said some stuff. You got to treat them like the kids when they say stupid stuff." Yeah, and Devin's saying, "Well, you don't call him out for like talking shit to a woman when you're supposed to be all about women." I'm like, why are you getting on her about somewhat like relax, like.
Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. Let's move on from that one. Bloody Money is saying, do you guys feel the latest episode lacked some drama? I do think that, especially towards the end, like we spoke about it, the chamber was a bit of a nothing burger. The arena was a bit of a nothing burger. And it was pretty clear where alliances were standing. But it's kind of that time of the season now where the hand of different alliances have been shown. So it's now just about riding it out until the final so we can see how Bananas or Jordan wins the season for the men and how Tori wins the season for the women, or I don't know who else. Like at this stage, like those are the people who are dominating. I feel like for the most part, maybe Kylan in there, Rachel and Kara can't really, completely count them out. They both know how to win finals as well. So,
what about Jenny?
But yeah, Jenny's won a final. Like, put respect on the girl's name. Bloody Money is saying, treat the challenge like pro wrestling, aka WWE, the storyline, the characters, and emotional investment. I totally agree with you. And that is exactly how I see it. I want to be entertained when I watch it. I want to have people. I'm now fully team entertainment when I watch the challenge. I want entertaining characters.
You've crossed well over the
over. Because in the beginning, I was all about like, let's make this about the most athletic, the best. And like, I've changed with the seasons. Now I'm just like, give me Wes every season. I love it. I'm in on the Ginger Man, right? Bring him back. So ultimately we've got Jenny winning here. She takes shots. She ends up throwing in Derek, Jordan, and Kylan. What's your predictions? You know my prediction. My prediction is Jordan finds a way yet again not to be in the arena. Probably wins the daily outright. And Derek and so who's going in? Corey. Sorry, it was Corey, right? Yeah. Corey.
Kylan wasn't available.
Yeah, Kylan wasn't available. So Corey's probably going to be the one that's going to go against Derek. That's my prediction going into the next round. What's your prediction?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Jordan probably wins it.
He probably just wins the daily.
Yeah, he probably just wins the daily. When he gets a target on his sleeve, he goes, "Okay, I'll just win it now." Like to keep myself safe, Or Tori probably wins it as well. Like,
Let's see what Bloody Money is saying here. Bloody Money is saying, I listened to Zach Nichols' podcast with guest Nehemiah, and Nehemiah mentioned about D, and Nehemiah said MTV handled the D firing the wrong way. Do you guys believe D should come back? Yeah, I mean, listen, D came out recently and spoke about it. I've seen her on social media talking about the fact that she got taken out. I'm not that close. I can't even remember the exact line that she said, but I remember it was something to do with BLM. And it was a time where things were very sensitive, and immediately they moved towards removing her from the roster. That's as far as I remember. I can't remember. Like, can you remember the exact line that D said back when she got taken out?
Not the exact line, but it was along the lines of, I can't believe you guys think I'm racist when I lost my virginity to a black guy or something like that.
What?
Like you can't say I'm racist because I
That's
fuck black people.
weird.
It was something like
That's
that.
Is that the actual line? I think it was something prior to that, but that was her defense to it. But it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
something else.
Oh yeah, probably. I just remember that one standing out. Um, maybe that was the double down because I do remember I didn't like the fact like what she said. I was like, like it's bad, but but she didn't like correct.
There's been
She
some
didn't.
controversial things from people who are still on the show right now as well.
She doubled down, but she doubled down though. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she didn't like. Yeah.
For me personally, Bloody Money, I don't know if I want everybody to be treated fairly, firstly. Like, I'll put that out there. So if what she said is pretty much in line with what other people have done on the show that are still on the show, then I feel like you do need to treat people the same across the board. But I would have to re-educate myself on what she said at the time when she went. I don't know if we necessarily, from a character perspective, if we miss her on the show. I don't know. She was big drama when she was on the show, but I don't know if
when she was on, I loved her initially because for
She was
me, she
Australian.
was Aussie and she was Asian. And I was like, I wanted like to have her on the show. I thought she was great. But she was every season was like she was
It's
great
messy.
when Wes like carried her and dragged her and sort of thing. But she was so drama prone, like overly like way too far to the point where it was annoying, like with Rogan and stuff like that. I was like, I'm not, I don't care. Like I
Yes,
did like her initially, but I don't care if she comes back or not.
Yeah,
Like
we're not putting this Bloody Money. We're not putting this podcast's reputation on the line for is what Kahuna saying with that. We'll dodge that one, but thanks for throwing it our way. Lovable Nikki, hello, welcome to the live. It's great to have you here. We are starting to sort of get to the finish of this specific episode. There's not much more to discuss. Pretty straightforward episode, but for those that are checking this out at a later stage, let us know your thoughts on the comment section below. What did you agree with? What did you disagree with? Also let us know, what you think is going to happen next round. Like, I've got a feeling like Jordan slides into the final without going into the arena. Is that right? Or are we wrong? Are we seeing it completely wrong? And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the season plays out. I also wanted to just let people know with the podcast, we will be back next week, same time as we did this week. So it'll be Monday morning for you if you're in the States. Very early morning podcast. Both of us don't have availability throughout the week to do it on our normal Thursday slot. And then I am going to be off after that for a break, heading back to Africa to visit some family, which I'm really looking forward to. It's actually, Kahuna, the first proper break that I've had since starting this job that I'm in and have been doing for a year, 3 months, 4 months now. So I haven't had a proper break. So I'm going to be off social media, not in front of any of the podcast streaming or nothing like that. So good chance if they end up showing the final on Christmas week, like I think they may, we'll be back to talk about the final couple of episodes when I get back after the 6th of January. We'll come back and do our final thoughts on how the season played out, because this time, unlike previous times when I've gone back, I'm just going to take a proper break, which I think is going to be good. And it's going to refresh me heading into next year, because I'm sure we're going to have lots of challenge action to talk about. Some great TV shows coming up, Kahuna, next year as well with we've got Deal or No Deal Island season 2. That's looking very promising. We've got Traders season 3, which Mucky's going to be all over. I may feature on an episode or 2 just as a guest. I'm sure you'd love to do that. And then we'll definitely do some coverage on Treasure Island, maybe an opening episode review and a season review in its totality. We'll do 2 proper podcasts on that. I mean, Dr. Wall's coming back, and even if he is just there for 1 episode, which, it'd be crazy if he survives more than that, I'm all here for it. I want to see how he performs.
I've also heard, I saw a very interesting thing. Did you see the news about Survivor AU?
Yeah, I did see that they're looking at forwarding the world season before the next season, because apparently it's the best Survivor season ever.
They're so strong on it. They want to move it forward. Yeah, that's news. I was happy to hear. Like we were worried, right, when we were seeing the numbers and the format and 18 days and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like we were like, but that's
so here's the question. This season comes out 18 days long, best season ever, hits it out of the park. Does that mean Survivor and AU will then move to 18 days so that they can be even faster and more rapid than the US season? Do you think we will first we're going to do double the amount that the US season does, and then we go, you know what, we can do better than Survivor US in half the time. We'll beat them in the longer format and we'll beat them in the shorter format. Do you think that's where we're heading with Survivor?
Anything you can do, I can do better. I don't know. I think Australia, like, we just love the 55 episode season of everything, whether it's The Block, whether it's MasterChef, whether our reality TV show format is all the episodes. Like, we need 3 or 4 a week, and they have to be an hour to an hour and a half long. And
it's crazy.
We just smash them out. The Bachelor, anything, like any show that we have, it's just 50 episodes a season. Like, we have to have a lot of it. I don't know why. It's crazy.
Craziness. Anyways, that is it here for this week, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It's absolutely free, and it's the best way to show support to the Nullified Take channel. Put a like on this. Like I said, put some comments below. We always do come back to read them. But for now, Kahuna and I, we're both out. We'll catch you guys next week when we speak about episode 16 of the Challenge 40. Bye.